James DeLacy from Sweet Times of Fighting. Welcome back. We have another Canelo video. This is just because it literally came up on my YouTube recommended, obviously because I watched the last, or broke down the last Canelo video. So this one's come to me as well. So this is actually Canelo's getting jacked. His bulking workout. Now I don't know how true this is, if this is actually something he did to gain weight, who was actively trying to gain weight like this, but we're going to break this down. Hopefully it's better than his last little random circuit that was put together, and we'll see. And I'll give you some of my thoughts on how you can gain weight and move up a weight class, especially as a striker. It's something that I think many people struggle with. In fact, a member in our Sweet Times of Fighting Underground, which is actually in the description, he wanted to move up a weight class. I actually designed a 12-week program just for that, for strikers to move up a weight class using my philosophies in there, which I'll talk about here as well. So that program's actually available. So first off, it looks like we have overhead press that is done very, very poorly. Holy shit. Just be wary of your shoulders when you're doing so, especially as a boxer. Like, you know, your shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands, and all that kind of, you know, very important, as you know. So if you're going to do overhead press, make sure you do it well. So you want a narrower grip than this, and you want your elbows in front almost to sit on your lats, and the bar will be here on your collarbone, and you'll press all the way overhead with your head through. Obviously it depends on your mobility, but you don't have to just press with the bar. And especially with strikers, you're probably better off honestly pressing with dumbbells. It means you're not going to be limited by, if you have like thoracic extension limitations and things like that, and you can kind of organize yourself around the dumbbell, whereas the dumbbell organizes itself around you, whereas you have to organize yourself around the barbell, so it makes it a bit trickier. So let's actually look at the session itself versus just that. So it looks like he's got reps of the overhead press. Wait, is everything a damn circuit again? This is the shoulder, so lateral raises, of course. If you want that shoulder width, you've got to do those lateral raises. Actually, just generally good for shoulder health, just doing some kind of isolation stuff like this, so it's a solid one to use.
Ayer hicimos pierna.
I don't think. Oh wait, no, it is a circuit. So this is an interesting combination. So he goes, let's just see what else is in the circuit first before I make a comment here. He's gone overhead press, dumbbell lateral raise, upright row. Yeah. Okay, so that's an interesting little giant set. So a giant set is 3 exercises in a row. He's gone overhead press, which typically targets the front and side delts the most. Then you got lateral raises, which is mainly side delts, and you have upright row, which is again side delts, upper traps kind of thing. So by adding lateral raises and upright rows, you're basically just training the same muscle twice in the same circuit, which I think a better exercise to use would have been like a bent over reverse fly to target more of the rear delts as the third exercise to get the whole shoulder if you're doing something like this. Now the upright row did get a lot of hate for a long time, probably still does. The whole idea was that, you know, physiotherapists would put your arm into that internal rotation position to test for like impingements, and that was seen as the position that was causing impingements, and it was bad for your shoulders, but that's kind of all bullshit. So you can do the upright row if you don't feel pain. Obviously you can use different implements, so, you know, straight bars and stuff might not feel good, but, you know, kettlebells might feel good with that closer grip. Easy bars, dumbbells and things like that can all work. Wider grips as well, but they don't target the side just as well when it's wider grip. But it was like that was, let me play this through, because that was obviously part of the first. Okay, now he's back to kettlebells. So this must be the end of maybe another circuit. So he's probably done a couple of those. And then there must be warm-up kilos, surely. It's like 2 kilos. Let's see, okay. So he's doing hammer curls. So if you're wondering why or what difference it makes if you're doing, say, a neutral grip hammer curl like this versus underhand, so your underhand curl. Oh, why is he going up? I'm sort of confused what's going on there. So underhand, you're typically targeting the main two biceps muscles. So that's like your biceps peak, as you might call it, the ones on top. The hammer curl is targeting that muscle too, but you're also targeting this deep muscle within the elbow here as well, and some of the forearm. It's actually it's your strongest elbow flexor. It's called the brachialis muscle. So it's just another variation of a curl. He's doing. I don't understand this circuit. He's doing more lateral raises now. Maybe the other one was a warm up. This is a loose upright row. Press again. More lateral raises. Upright row. So what was? Okay, there's no fucking clue what's going on. But okay, I'm not even going to comment any further on. This is a fucking stupid circuit. But let's talk about what's really important is actually gaining size and moving up a weight class for strikers. And I think the biggest mistake that 99% of strikers make, boxers, whatever the sport is, when they go up a weight class, is they take a pure bodybuilding approach and they don't take what you would call, I guess, an athlete approach to it. There's ways to go about it. If you just did stuff like this, you're going to run into problems if the rest of your training week or the rest of your program doesn't address everything else. And I don't know what the rest of the week here looks like for Canelo, if he's doing other stuff, speed, power, whatever, so I'm not going to comment on that. But typically, you want to have a thread of everything. I always talk about touching on all the qualities that you want, regardless of what your goal is. So your goal is to gain size. Yes, the bulk of your training will be more bodybuilding orientated, often single joint isolation stuff, some kind of compound movements, but you'll still also always have some form of speed power work, whether that's jumps, plyometrics, throws, etc. You just do less volume of it. So you might only do 2 sets of jump, or 2 or 3 sets of jumps, and maybe a couple of sets of throws, and then you might go into more of your strength hypertrophy work. And you might do that for all your days, or you might do some of that speed work before your technical training. So you might be throwing some medicine balls and doing jumps before you're doing your pad work, bad work, etc. And you get that in there, and then your gym stuff is more pure hypertrophy work, as an example. And it's important that you always have that in your training program, because if you don't, you lose those qualities relatively quickly. And that's when people go, oh, but the gym, I put on all this weight and I just got slow. I put on X amount of muscle and I got X amount stronger in the gym, and I was just slow and sluggish, so I don't do gym anymore. I don't know how many times I've heard that. And it's because they take this approach of just going in and finding the latest bodybuilding program online, hit legs, chest, back, etc. 4 or 5 days a week, and then you run into that problem. So the goal is you need to be able to fit the training around your boxing or your striking training or even any other combat sport, but you'll likely need to pull back slightly from your technical training. So if you go, let's just say, because we're talking about Canelo here, you're a boxer, so let's say you're boxing 5 times a week and you're going to the gym once or twice a week, just as an example. So you may pull back to 3 times a week boxing, and then maybe you're in the gym 3 times a week to get bigger, or maybe you're doing 4 times a week boxing. Obviously it just depends on your lifestyle, work, etc. like that. Just so you can add that extra gym day to gain size, because that is your priority at that point. You're still going to get your boxing and things, but you're just making sure that you have the time to be able to add that muscle mass. Regarding the actual training structure, typically I like to go fast to slow, so you're going to start all of your 2 or 3 sessions in the gym with that speed power work, and that's going to be jumps, throws, plyometrics, Olympic lifts. That's pretty much it. So any of those kinds of things where you're going to get some kind of speed power element, lowish volume, you're talking like 1 to 3 sets depending on the exercise. So for example, if it's like box jumps, you can do 3 sets, that's fine. But if it's something like loaded squat jumps or, you know, power snatches or something like that, yeah, then only like 2 sets, 1 or 2 sets. Should be minimal. It should take you 10-15 minutes. It's almost like an extended warm-up. And then you're going to go into your main hypertrophy work. Typically it's going to be centered around the upper body. You're still going to do some lower body, but the majority of that work will be done for the upper body. So you might look at doing some form of squat variation to start, and typically within that you're not going to do too many reps for the lower body. It's going to be more strength oriented. Think about the saying, I heard Jim Wendler say it first, you're going to athlete the lower, bodybuild the upper. That's pretty much the premise of it. You're going to do more strength orientated reps for the lower body. So that could be like 3 to 6 reps kind of thing for a squat. And then you get to the upper body, you might do a strength exercise. For example, let's just say in this instance the overhead press, and you're going to do maybe anywhere from like 5 to 8 reps, more of a strength style overhead press, and then you're going to do your isolation style movements for more reps, and that's where you're going to get most of your volume. It's good to get most of your volume from some of these isolation movements because it's just less taxing on the joints and the body, so you can still train, you know, your boxing, etc. So instead of doing like 5 sets of overhead press and then like another 5 sets of dumbbell overhead press or whatever it is, do, you know, 3 or 4 sets of overhead press, but then do the rest with things like lateral raises, reverse flies, arms, things like that. Same thing when you're doing your horizontal pressing, so you might be doing some kind of incline or flat bench or dumbbell bench, which is perfectly cool. And then you might be doing some kind of chest fly, and chest fly is not something that typically programmed for athletic purposes. It's more just for shoulder health because it feels damn good when you get that load stretch on the chest. And same thing with back. You can do typically with back you can do moderate to high reps for everything. That's all your rows, pull downs and pull ups, then you're pretty well sorted. Typically you're not looking to do body parts on those days. You're not looking to go 3 days a week and you're going to do chest one day, back another day. So you need to think more just in general movement. So you might do 2 of those days, you might do 1 lower body movement. So you might do, for example, I mentioned the squat in that like 3 to 6 rep range, you might do that. And the other day might be like a Romanian deadlift as an example for like 5 to 8 reps. And those are like your 2 main lower body movements. And then you're going to fit maybe like 1 or 2, or probably like 1 push, 1 pull, and then your isolation work. And then you can do day 2, you can do exactly the same thing. You could do some kind of single leg lower body that's not too taxing, could even be just like an isometric. And then you can do 1 push, 1 pull, and then your isolation stuff, and the same thing on your 3rd day. Really simple structure that way. Not too taxing on everything else, but you're still getting the work done that you need to do to grow. Obviously, dietary factors play into this as well, outside the gym, which is a completely different discussion. You could go on and on about that too, but just around the training, that is how you can do it, and it ensures that you're not going to lose speed and power, which will be the first things to go on a bodybuilding centric program, and it's the last thing you want as a combat athlete. So just bear that in mind and check the program out down in the description as well. It's in the Sweet Science of Fighting Underground. But I will see you in the next video.